Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm going to keep this one very short, concise, straight to the point, so that we're not, lingering too long on some of this stuff. It's a lot of things that we've talked about, and the conditions on a lot of assets really haven't changed too much, especially BTC. So this is a setup that I shared last night. I was looking for a move down like this and a reclaim of the previous week low and then weekly open and so on and so forth. So I'm currently long from 62, which is kind of right around where price is sitting. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these brushes here. And what I wanted to see, honestly, this is exactly what I wanted to see. I think this looks really good. Could it go lower? Sure, whatever, sweep. It doesn't matter to me. But I think altogether for this setup specifically, we put in these lows here. We put another low on this trend line here. For me, this is a good spot for a long. Stop loss below range low and ultimately target previous week high. Of course, looking for price to break out of this downwards trend line and start reclaiming some levels here. But altogether, my long scenario has been triggered. If you want to take a conservative entry where you long on strength instead of like trying to catch a bottom here, what I would recommend is looking for a high volume reclaim of previous week low, where you can then look to long with your stop below whatever the local low ends up being. That would be a conservative entry that you could do where you're longing strength rather than trying to catch sort of a bottom here like what I've done. So altogether, again, like I can't emphasize this enough, really. I mean, I've said this so many times. So I'm now in 3 different longs on BTC, 2 swing longs, and then this one, of course. I opened up an intra-week account because I'm long on so many assets on 2 different of my accounts. So like, I'm just gonna let those ride, and what I'm gonna do is use this intra-week account to just continue to trade a little bit more actively in this chop scenario. So again, like I had said and shared last week is that I said in the last live stream that we do have this bullish arc harmonic, and I am expecting price to have some continuation to the upside. And I said, however, I do expect us to have some degree of chop, in this zone where it's going to shake people out. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And people are just so bearish here. We've had a lot of FUD come out. All of these things that say BTC is going to go lower, and yet price is still holding range low. Price is sitting at about 62K, despite all of this FUD and everyone being super bearish. The charts aren't reflecting, the charts are not reflecting the sentiment right now, in my opinion. And what's fueling sort of these bearish, I think, feelings towards the asset are this chop. And I think choppiness is more it can be more painful to trade than if price just simply dumped. Because if price dumps, you understand, right? You're like, oh yeah, we're bearish, price dumped. There's a lot of reasons why it should dump. There's all this FUD, etc., etc. However, when price doesn't dump and you sort of have this like expectation of like an impending move down, but it's not quite doing that, and you don't understand why, and price goes up, but then it gets retraced, and it just really messes with the trader mentality if you don't expect it. And like I've said for quite some time, is to expect this chop to happen and to trade it accordingly. And so what do you do in a choppy scenario? You long at the low end of the chop, right? You long the low end of the chop, and you short the top end of the chop, right? And I'm actually not really going to look too much into shorts Rather, I'm longing the low end of the chop because my bias is bullish. So that's what I'm doing is I'm longing the low end of the chop. And now I have an intra-week account that I'm going to have some fun trading this chop with while I hold my swing longs on several different assets. And look at this. This is, yeah, perfect. It's exactly what I'm looking for here. Boom. Tap down here, get that move just like I drew out. Happened a little bit later, but just like I was expecting here. So this is really nice. I want to see continuation, reclaim of the previous week low, and then get that move up. Okay, so I think that's it on BTC. Altogether, we're just going to take it level by level. I'm going to continue to update you guys. I'm going to do a lot of intra-week trading, and we'll continue to have some fun. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be holding my my swing longs as well. Ethereum, I'm going to do some analysis on ETH in the coming week ahead just because it's been interesting. So I'm not going to dwell on this too much right here, right now, but just know that I have some analysis coming here with Ethereum so that we can get some exposure to this side of crypto. We've been so focused on Solana as of late. I shared a trade set up on Matic. I think Matic's in a very interesting place right now. This is the trade setup that I'm looking for, was a move down to sweep this low, tap this trend line here, get an entry on like a swing failure or deviation setup as price, from what I see here, is forming an ascending triangle below range lows. So we can take a look at what that looks like here if we just zoom out a little bit. So price has been in this range for a really long time. This is a really key sort of range low here that it's developed over almost not almost a year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6-7 months or whatever. And so I like this as a setup. Now this can go one of two ways, and it's really, really key that we sort of pay attention to how this plays, because if this triangle breaks down, it's definitely going to go quite a bit lower, right? It's not going to be like a light dump. It's going to go quite a bit lower, and we'll have to look at where some of those targets might be. But for the time being, I like this as a long setup. And what we would want to see is price to reclaim back into range lows, target mid-range and range high for take profit zones. So locally, what does that look like? Again, going down to lower time frames or zooming in a little bit here. This is kind of the setup that I would be looking for something like that to happen, is to long this sort of 675 zone on a sweep, put our stop loss below that low, and go ahead and target a reclaim of range lows. If we get the reclaim of range lows, that looks something like this, then we simply compound our long here and target the mid-range and so on and so forth. So really we would just take it level by level. Now, my one thing is that on BTC right now, I like where it is for a bottom. And so we might not get this low. We might not get this move down. It's very possible that does not happen. And I do have this trend line here drawn out. If we go ahead and go straight from here to here, instead of drawing from this one to this one, and you can see that it is being respected here in terms of H1 closures. So it is possible that we don't get that move down. If we don't, I'll go ahead and long on some sign of strength or some other setup, but I'm going to hold on to wait for this setup to happen. And if we don't get it, that's okay. I'll go ahead and make some adjustments later on. This last week, I took a lot of opportunities like this here. Last week, I jumped the gun on a lot of longs, and they all wound up going to my original targets. And so I'm going to try not to do that this week. The same thing I would have done last week is I would have jumped the gun and I would have longed here. And that very well could play out, but I'm not going to do that same thing this week. In fact, I'm just going to wait for my primary targets. If I don't get them, no big deal. If I do, great. Solana. So Solana here, let me pull this up. Solana here is Solana currently sitting at our upwards range lows. Slightly deviating and closing on an H4. I don't think this looks great, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does dump lower. That said, I'm still long, and I'm going to hold on to my positions until they're invalid, which, if I can find that setup here, is this setup. So this is my current long position. As you can see, my invalidation is below these lows here. I've seen something like this happen several times. The key here is it has to be happening in a more of a bullish environment. And what that is sometimes what you'll end up seeing is price will put in lows and trend like this, come up, come back down. And then what everyone expects is for these levels to get swept. Well, that doesn't happen. Instead, it continues to hold the trend, and then it has continuation to the upside. I've seen this happen before several different times on a couple different assets. It's really a great trap to trap bears, because, again, they expect sort of this move down, and it also sidelines bulls, because, again, they want that sweep of these lows. They think to themselves, oh, we can't have all these lows here and not come down and sweep it. Bears think the same thing, and so that's why this is a really painful move if it actually does hold this level and then have continuation to the upside. Like I said, I've seen this before. I've seen it play out both ways, where it does get the move down and get the sweep, or have continuation down, and I've also seen it where it holds and gets this move up. So for that reason, I'm going to continue to hold my long position that I have here, and let price unfold. Okay, and I'll continue to update you guys throughout the week. And when we do see maybe a setup or some sign of strength, I'll go ahead and maybe we can do an intro week setup as well. But for the time being, this is my swing long setup that I'm in and will continue to hold. I'm going to share some bonk analysis this week. I haven't done it yet. Just know that it is coming. My very, just taking a glance at this asset, just very briefly, is that, we sort of have this zone here. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a deviation reclaim of this area. This is just kind of a setup that I'm eyeing right now, but again, I'll have more analysis coming for that later this week. Okay, so Pepe, we got our long target hit perfectly on Saturday. Nice pump to the upside, and now we can see that it's being retraced. We haven't quite gotten back down to our entry, and we're below last week's Monday high, which isn't exactly what you want to see. So definitely want to look for price to reclaim this level. I wanted and would have preferred to have seen continuation towards this zone, but again, Pepe is sort of taking on the chop as well. So this is my long setup for my swing, and I'm going to continue to hold it. I think as of right now, as I look at this asset, I do think that my stops are safe where they are. That said, again, we're continuing to hold this OB, which is really nice, but I do want to see a reclaim of last week's Monday high and then have some degree of continuation to the upside where we can start to take out these highs here. I don't want to see Pepe dwell too much longer in this zone, because I may otherwise, we might have to reevaluate. For the time being, it's okay. I'm still long. I'm still in this position. I'm going to hold on to it. But I do want to start seeing some action here on Pepe where we take out some of these highs. What other assets were we looking at? I think that was about it. We covered BTC and Matic, Pepe, Sol. The last one that I'm going to get some analysis going on too is WIF. So this will be another upcoming asset that I start to share with you guys. my first instinct right now is to say that I'm going to be looking for a move down to range lows here for some kind of a position, maybe a sweep here or something like that. But again, we'll have to hold off and wait for some analysis on this before we jump to anything. So let's take a look. Let's go back to BTC here. Yeah, great reaction. This is exactly what I wanted to see. I wish I could say I was surprised. This is great. So some degree of continuation, and we'll go from there. So let's see what we got. I see some people are asking some questions. Do you think BTC is done dumping? I feel like a run to 58K is coming from Parth. Yeah, you know, and I've addressed this several times. I'm very bullish on BTC. I think that this is the low. I don't think we're gonna take this out. We have this really nice bullish. Let me pull it up. We have. Is it here? No. We have this really nice bullish shark harmonic. This is the low. We got a nice move up. We're holding range lows. We have some local long setups. I'm long BTC. I do expect new all-time highs by May 18th. I do not think that we're going to get a move down to 58K. If price comes down here and does something like this, that's still fine. However, if price breaks down and does go towards the 58 or 57K, then this setup is invalid and we'll reevaluate. That's the way that I look at it. But right now, I'm bullish and I'm not going to let this chop shake that. My invalidation is very clear. I want to see a clean break of this low, and then I'll say that this idea is wrong and we can reevaluate. Do you think is going to surpass 64,500 resistance? 64,500 resistance. Yeah, I do. Yeah, so so I'm swing long on two different accounts, and then my third account, this is my intra-week account. I'm long from 62K as per this setup that I shared last night. You can see it's playing out perfectly. We got this sweep just like I expected we would, and now we're going to look for a reclaim of previous week low and then a reclaim of weekly open, break through this downwards trend line, and then we'll target that 64,500 level that you had asked about. I absolutely, I do think that we're going to see that level this week. And you know what's great about that too is even if we do sort of get this move back up and price wants to continue to chop, no big deal. This is still within that chop zone, right? We're still within that choppy zone price action area. Would love to hear some near analysis. Well, maybe that's something we can take a look at in the week ahead. I only think there will be a wick to take out all the lows and run back up. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I can see why you would say that. I agree. I mean, when you look at the chart, I can see why you would say that. I disagree. I don't think that would happen. Even if it does a little like come down here and have, let's say, a triple bottom, you know, but I don't think we're going to see a proper sweep or anything like that. If price breaks below this, it's going to be going much lower. I mean, at least 55 in my opinion. But I can see why you know, from what I'm seeing, a lot of people think that's a very likely thing to happen. I just don't. I don't. I think that we're going to chop around here and it's going to get messy. Everyone's going to continue to be really bearish for all of these reasons that the chart's not reflecting. And I think that this is going to hold and we're going to see that move up to new all-time highs by May 18th. So, Henry, my guy, thank you. Always great to see you on here. You know what? Who asked for that new type? Yeah, I'll just look at near. I mean, I'm not going to do a full-blown analysis, and maybe that's something that I can share later in the week. But I don't know. Let's just take a look at the chart and see what it looks like, huh? Just for the hell of it, because I was very quick on this stream, and we do have a little bit of time. I wanted to cut it at about the 30-minute mark, so we do have a little bit of time left. A little bit of time. Yeah, I got about 10 minutes. So why don't I do a quick 10-minute analysis on near for you guys, just for the hell of it. Have some fun. Sure, I can knock something out pretty damn quick. Yeah, I don't think it's inviting buyers on support right now. I disagree with that. I think people are very bearish. I mean, you can look at the funding rates and the delta yourself. In fact, here we can look at this. If you think people are buying support, I can prove. I'll show you right now that that's not true. Let me get rid of this stuff. All right, so this is BTC price action. Okay, here is quote unquote support. These are net longs and these are net shorts on BITGET. And well, look at net shorts. Look at net longs, which are flat and actually going down. And then if we go ahead and look at price action here. Wow, look at that. 15 million in shorts just opened up right here. Look at all these shorts increasing, massive increase in shorts going into support that people are not buying. So I don't know. I mean, I disagree. I don't think that people are being invited to buy. I think they're being shook out. All right, let's see. Let's go back to our monthly here. Yeah, that's because you got 15 million in shorts just opened up right there, so they're about to get wrecked. Wrecked city. Literally, man, I'm gonna tell you that call I had from last night on BTC, it's just playing out perfectly right now. I mean, you could not ask for a better setup to have someone short into where you want to long. All right, so here we have our previous week levels, or previous month. I gotta change all these. Yeah, I mean, on BTC, everyone's kind of has the same idea that you're thinking, I think. You know, it's like everyone's really bearish and they think we're gonna go lower, and there's no way the low's in, and I don't know. Just doing some speed charting right now, man. So we're still forming Mondays. Hmm. Oh, I'm running out of time. Running out of time. It's a pretty weird local setup right now. Yeah, I suppose, for me, I would feel most comfortable on, and I'm gonna do this really quick. There's a definitely um I have to do more analysis on this. So this is literally a 5-minute analysis. I wouldn't feel comfortable buying until there's like a sweep of the previous week low here. It's been acting as support for a while, and we can see that this is a deviation of the level. I would look for a backtest reclaim, and then what you'd want to see is a claim of this range high. And once range high is claimed here, once price actually claims this range high, oof, man, there's not really a whole lot of resistance standing between near and all-time highs. Yeah, I would say once price can claim this level here and hold it as support, claim this, hold it as support, I don't see any reason why we don't get this move up here. And it all starts locally right here with, like I said, a potential sweep given this sort of local range here. Deviate that, back test it, get the previous week low sleep, claim the previous week high, and then have some degree of continuation to the upside. And I think that would be like sort of my general analysis on near. Of course, I'd have to do a lot more, but that's just like off the top of my head kind of what I'm seeing. Yeah, let's look at BTC. I don't know how many more times I can do this. I like, damn, dude. Just, yeah, given to you on a silver platter, man. Look at that. Perfect. This looks great. All right, cool. Well, I hope you guys caught this low. I gave it to you, last night, and then I also called it live in the group when I was long. And then you even had an opportunity again this morning. There was another nice move down. So I hope you guys caught that. I think that we'll call it there on today. Everything looks good, and you guys are going to get a lot more analysis from me this week. I've really dove heavily back into trading as of late because everything has been very interesting to me on the charts. So as always, guys, thank you for joining me, and expect more analysis this week, more setups. Everything's looking good. So let's have a good trading week, guys, and I'll see you in the Discord.